Our guest today is Surya Gummadi, President Americas at Cognizant, who also leads its global large deals. Surya is what you would call a lifer, having spent more than 2 decades in Cognizant, leading some of its most important acquisitions and steering its foray into sectors like healthcare.
Well, yeah, this is my 26th or 27th year with Cognizant. Now with AI, the patients or the consumers are expecting very similar experience in healthcare to what they get in banks or in travel or in retail. So overall, I feel very positive and optimistic that AI will help improve the quality of care and reduce cost of care.
I talked to Surya at a time when AI is transitioning from hype to hard ROI, and Cognizant itself is graduating from an AI adopter to an AI builder.
The AI is real right now, but the issue is they are not seeing the benefits flow back into the balance sheets yet. Right now, enterprises are consuming tokens not necessarily for the right reasons and for the right use cases. What is missing right now is an enterprise harness to bridge the value gap. So our M&A strategy is intentional. It's not opportunistic.
Of course.
We have unearthed $200 million worth of new opportunities
Fantastic.
that would have never come to surface otherwise.
Fantastic.
So that is the power of AI coupled with context.
In this conversation, we dig into where the real differentiation comes from, what it takes for enterprises to move from pilot mode to actual scale, and the promises and challenges that face Cognizant and the business landscape it is in the next few years. It's Monday, the 3rd of August. I'm Anirban Chowdhury. This is Corner Office Conversation. Surya, very warm welcome to the podcast.
Good afternoon, Anirban. Thank you for having me on your podcast today.
Lovely to have you. And thanks for flying in and making time. Okay, let's start with the landscape. Where is AI right now? I mean, we've heard so many statements from companies saying that they've already overspent on AI. Is this a sign of the technology or the evolution at a maturity stage? Or do you think cracks are beginning to show?
See, the AI is real right now. I think it's universally accepted.
Yeah.
And what we are seeing right now, Anirban, is the frontier model evolution is exponential. Frontier models have evolved significantly over the last few months.
Right.
And enterprises have consumed AI tokens very heavily as well. Enterprises across the globe have spent millions of dollars in consuming these tokens. But the issue is they are not seeing the benefits flow back into the balance sheets yet. So that is the significant part of the conversation right now. How do you bridge the value gap between the frontier model capability to enterprise business value? And that's why you feel that it is cracking or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's not. I think the conversation is more around how do we bridge the gap between frontier model capability and the enterprise business value.
Good. Do you see tokenism as a challenge right now? Do you find enterprises not mature enough to differentiate between tokenism and actual use case? And do you see it evolving to a stage where this will be a thing of the past?
You're right. Evolving is the right phrase there. Because right now enterprises are consuming tokens not necessarily for the right reasons and for the right use cases. As a result, the token consumption is very high. So that is the issue right now. So it will evolve for a period of time.
Yeah.
And then once you start mapping the right use cases versus the token consumption, the value gap will be bridged.
Got it. But what will make it, I mean, the tokenism to diminish and enterprises to come closer to real use cases? What is the decision making that goes behind it?
What is needed, what is missing right now is an enterprise harness to bridge the value gap,
Right.
which is where Cognizant specializes
Correct.
in. We want to be the AI builder in building that enterprise harness. What I mean by harness is it has 4 or 5 components. One is to reimagine the business processes and the operations around the AI. And the second aspect is integrating AI into the core of the enterprise, which is into the legacy application stack and things like that. The third aspect is getting the data models ready and integrated. And the fourth and fifth important aspects are governance and security. Once you start deploying AI, those parameters come into play as well. So someone will have to orchestrate across these five elements, and we call it as a harness. And this would be the role of IT service providers. So once enterprises have this harness, then they'll start realizing the value from the
Got it.
tokens that they are consuming.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Let's come to Cognizant and its relationship with clients, which is also what you specialize in. Now, your CEO, Ravi Kumar, so he's called Cognizant an AI builder and not an AI adopter. For your clients, specifically on ground, in terms of discussions, contracts, transactions, what does it mean?
So, AI builder doesn't mean purely implementing technology or deploying AI into the existing workflows. What we mean by AI, being an AI builder for our clients, is that helping them reimagine their business process, reimagine their workflows around AI, and helping them integrate AI into their entire tech stack,
Yeah.
helping them frame the use cases, helping them with the governance and the security aspects. So that's what we call it as an AI builder for our clients. And our clients appreciate that because they're looking for that kind of help right now to unlock that value from the AI tokens and to translate that into business outcomes, the tangible business outcomes.
Got it. When you talk to clients, what separates the ones that are successfully scaling AI from the ones that are still stuck in pilot mode? I'm sure there is a larger chunk of the former
Right.
now, which is the scalers,
Yes.
and not the pilot, the ones stuck in pilot mode. But how is that transition happening?
Anirban, if if you look at our client spectrum, so we have three categories of clients: very large clients,
Yeah.
the mid-cap clients, and small clients.
Right.
All three categories of clients are navigating very similar AI ambitions, but some of them are seeing the successes, some of them are relatively behind. The clients across these three spectrums,
Yeah.
the clients that are seeing successes share a common denominator, which is they are looking at deploying AI holistically. They are
Yeah.
not taking a siloed approach. And they are just not deploying AI into their existing workflows or business processes. They are trying to reimagine the entire workflow or the business process leveraging AI. So as a result, these clients across the three spectrums, the large clients, mid cap and small clients, they're able to leverage better benefits than the clients who are still in the pilot mode, taking a very siloed approach, trying to force fit AI into their existing business process. So the first category of clients who are relatively successful with AI are also working on two elements that are not widely spoken, which is getting their workforce ready, the talent ready, and working on the change management.
Right.
These two are important elements as well. So the clients who have addressed, or who are leveraging AI to reimagine their entire business process and in parallel working on their workforce and change management have started seeing the benefits of AI. And slowly the benefits are trickling down to their balance sheets.
Got it. Now, okay, tell me about your acquisitions. You acquired Belcan, 3Cloud, Astrea,
Yeah.
and they were done in quick succession. What is it in aid of? Where is it leading to? How is it helping you build your efficiencies? And what is the way forward? Do we see some more happening?
So our M&A strategy is intentional. It's not opportunistic.
Of course.
So we look at acquisitions in what we call it as a 3x3 frame. So when we look at an acquisition, we see whether it is giving us an entry into the new geography that we are not present today, or whether it is giving us an entry into the new markets that we do not serve today, or it is helping us bridge the capability gap that we have in our value chain. So that this is on the business priority lens. In the vertical dimension, we map it against our go-to-market strategy.
Right.
So you're familiar with our three-vector go-to-market
Yes.
strategy.
Yes.
In the vector one, we unlock the efficiency. Vector two is industrialize AI. Vector three is transformation.
Right.
When we look at an asset for acquiring an asset, we try to see if it maps to any of those three vectors. Now, talking about the examples that you just spoke about, Belcan, it fits into the horizontal, the business priority category.
Right.
It gave us entry into aerospace and defense sectors that Cognizant was not present before.
Right.
So it gave us an entry into that space. Now, Astrea and 3Cloud, they map to the three vector strategy in the vector 2 and vector 3. Astrea, so they brought us the capability for building AI powered data centers And 3 cloud, similarly, it's between vector 2 and vector 3.
How do we see it going forward? Are you looking at more acquisitions? Are there sort of pockets which you want to make part of your efficiencies, which would trigger acquisitions, more
So,
acquisitions basically?
M&A is key part of our
Yeah.
strategy. So we'll continue to look at acquisitions that fit our 3x3 frame.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to look at acquisitions that map to our future growth strategy.
Right, right. Tell me, I'm very curious about this. As someone who's overseeing global deals with a base in the US, how do you look at the fact that AI is now become a huge geopolitical tool rather than just an enabler and a strategic tool? How do you look at it broadly?
I think there are some geopolitical elements and there is some amount of tension in certain geographies on these AI. I think it comes down to access of these frontier
Absolutely.
models.
Yeah. Great
That
point.
governs everything.
Yeah.
That governs everything. Depending on the geography a client is or an enterprise is, and depending on the type of access that they have from the frontier model, it defines their model strategy. So that's why many of these enterprises, they're kind of looking at sovereign models.
Yeah.
At the same time, they're looking at the global models. But if you depend on the global model and the long-term access to that model also defines, the strategy. So there is a little bit of calculated moves that enterprises will have to make.
Are you hopeful of India coming up its own sovereign model in the next few years?
Why not? I mean, India is one of the largest digital economies with abundance of talent on AI across. And India has been a leader in this. So why not? I hope India would come up with a sovereign model.
Right. Tell me about GCCs. They were primarily looked at as execution engines before. Now they have become innovation drivers. How do you look at that shift? Of course, from a Cognizant's lens, that would be great.
I don't know if you know that Cognizant's evolution was as a GCC. If you recall the history of Cognizant, it first started as a GCC for Dun and Bradstreet in US.
Right.
So it started as Dun and Bradstreet GCC, and then it evolved into Cognizant into late 90s.
Yeah.
So Anirban, I mean GCCs have evolved through 4 phases. Initially, they started as offshore delivery centers. Then they pivoted to technology centers. Then into 2000s and 2010 and onwards, they became the innovation hubs. And now we are talking them GCCs as AI powered or AI hubs. So across these, the 4S curves for the GCCs that you talk about, they have evolved significantly. So what has happened is, in the initial years, they were considered more of a back office kind of function.
Right.
Now they have become the integral part of the corporate strategy for our clients. And for many clients, they have become significant competitive differentiators as well. If you look at the numbers, I think right now we have 2,100 GCCs in India. And over a period of time, in the next 3 years, they are expected to touch 3,000 or so. And about $100 billion of revenue is generated through GCCs. And they employ about 2.4 million people. So it is a very significant element right now. Let
me come to a really interesting use case, one which has dominated AI use case discourse over the last few months. In fact, I was talking to a bunch of executives at Google, and from AlphaGo to what can happen in genome sequencing to drug discovery, they are really bullish about healthcare. Now, you've sort of had a leading role in that business. Where do you see measurable impact, and when do you see measurable impact across geographies and, of course, across Cognizant's gamut and scope of work?
Yeah. As you know, healthcare is a highly regulated industry. So even if you look at prior technology disruptions, the healthcare was not considered as a front runner or a leader in adopting the technology. But it's slightly different when it comes to AI, and I'll explain you why. Healthcare historically was built, at least if you talk of US healthcare, it was built with claim as the epicenter. But the consumer was not the epicenter.
Yeah.
But now with AI, the patients or the consumers are expecting very similar experience in healthcare to what they get in banks or in travel or in retail. So that has forced healthcare companies to think differently. They are leveraging AI to make consumer the epicenter for patient experience and not the claim. So that is a big shift in healthcare across. And then in healthcare, we technically see it in two dimensions. One is the quality of care, and the other is cost of care. AI is having an impact, profound impact on both the dimensions. On the quality of care, AI is playing a significant role in the telehealth, remote patient monitoring, remote drug adherence, and things like that. And it is also enabling physicians spend significant time with patients rather than taking the administrative burden away.
Yeah, of course.
So that is on the quality of care. On the cost of care, it is making a significant impact by reducing, the claims processing times, by reducing fraudulent claims, and driving efficiencies into RCM, revenue cycle management, and things like that.
Right.
So it is simultaneously helping the healthcare industry improve the quality of care and reduce cost of care. This is on the payers and providers. In the biopharma and medical devices, leveraging AI, the companies are able to launch drugs much faster into the market.
Do you really think so?
Yes, it is advancing the clinical research. It is helping,
But
with the
trials?
clinical trials. Yes, it is. It is also helping with the clinical trials to analyze the trials much faster, leveraging AI. And obviously, it's related to medicine and it is related to human lives, and it's highly regulated. You have to follow the norms and things like that. But yes, it is having an impact, and it is helping get drugs faster into the market.
Got it.
So overall, I feel very positive and optimistic that AI will help improve the quality of care and reduce cost of care.
Got it. Would you explain what role Cognizant is playing in this space?
In healthcare, we serve the clients across the four segments. We serve health insurance companies, we serve hospitals, we call them as providers, we serve biopharma companies, the drug manufacturers,
Right.
and we also serve the medical device companies.
Right.
So, going by each segment, with the health insurance companies, we work with the health insurance companies in optimizing their claims adjudication processes, in optimizing their RCM processes, in driving efficiencies into the provider credentialing and
Got
things
it.
like that. So that is with the payers. With the hospitals, we work with them on the telehealth, remote patient monitoring, and all those aspects. For the biopharma companies, as I mentioned earlier, we work with them in advancing the clinical research and in advancing the clinical trials and things like that. Healthcare is one of our largest business units.
Got it. Got it. You are what we could call a Cognizant lifer. I mean, you've sort of seen it through Y2K, through cloud,
Yeah.
digital, and now, of course, AI. Where do you see Cognizant from your lens in the next 5 years?
Well, yeah, this is my 26th or 27th year with Cognizant. So I have started with Cognizant in the Y2K era.
Right.
After that, we moved to client server. Then after that, we moved to managed services. Then SMAC, used to call it Social Mobile Analytics Cloud. Then digital. Now AI. I think last time I counted, I believe we jumped 7 S curves, as I would call it. The three things that we calibrated every time were our talent model, our capability set, and our go-to-market model. Now for the AI, when it comes to AI, we are refreshing our talent, we are upgrading our talent, we are enriching our talent with the native AI from the native AI builders.
Right.
And then we are building the new capability set for the AI era.
Right.
So we are building our own platforms. We are partnering with clients. We are partnering with all the frontier model companies. We are agnostic across the frontier model companies, but we are partnering with them. That is on the capability set. We are also calibrating our go-to-market model. We are reorienting our sales engine to outcome-driven approach.
Yeah.
We are, calibrating our pricing models, and we are training our workforce. So we are calibrating these three elements and getting Cognizant ready for the AI era. In fact, we are the ones who coined the term the AI harness for the industry. So we want to be
Which you started with. Huh?
we want to be the market leaders in enabling our clients bridge the value gap between the frontier model capability and the business value.
Right.
And we want our AI harness to be a huge differentiator in the market.
As a company in the US, as an Indian tech executive in the US, and also in the midst of the AI revolution, what would you say are the top challenges that not just Cognizant but your peers will have to grapple with in the next 5 years?
I think, the biggest challenge, because IT services is a people-based industry. So we have 350,000 plus employees, and our peer group has large number of employees too. So the biggest challenge is how do we pivot the workforce from the current state to a state where we become the market leader in building the AI harness.
Right.
So that's why we are taking a three-pronged approach. We are training our workforce, we are upgrading or upskilling our workforce, and we are refreshing our workforce. We are getting the talent. So that will be the biggest. So we call it as a bridge for, to cross from the current world to the AI world. And the change management too. So this industry has evolved and grown over the last 3 decades in a certain way where the clients used to define the requirements, we used to do projects for the clients. Where we were enabling the outcomes, but now we have to underwrite the outcomes.
Right.
That is a big mindset shift as well.
Right. Right.
So one
That's
is
very well put.
Yeah. So one is the talent aspect and getting the talent to the right place. The second is changing the mindset shift from enabling outcomes to underwriting the outcomes.
Do you see policy making as a challenge going forward?
No, I think that will level out over a period of time. We strongly believe that AI will make it a level playing field. Probably Ravi spoke about the first principles of our industry changing.
Yeah.
So I think, for our peer group as well, I think we fundamentally see that there are two or three of their first principles changing or shifting from enabling outcomes to underwriting outcomes, from a talent-centric model to a hybrid model, and having a physical workforce to a combination of physical and the digital workforce, and things like that. And the traditional pyramid also will evolve over a period of time into a diamond shape or whatever. So I think that would be the big transition for the IT services industry. But in summary, we see a huge potential and value in bridging that value gap between the enterprise, the frontier model capability to business value. In fact, we are seeing that in the market today, that there is some compression in the traditional value pools. Some of the traditional value pools might go away over a period of time.
Sorry, what do you mean by that? What do you think will go away?
So the coding is done by machines today. So, and the traditional testing and things like that might go away. But the new value pools are getting created across the 5 layers of the AI stack. At the chip layer, that infra layer, and all the 5 layers. And we see physical AI is as one of the significant new value pool, and it is a sizable value pool that cuts across the 5 layers of the AI stack. And similarly, we have new value pools, the new type of work that is getting generated at the different layers of the stack. So I think the role of a developer or a coder will morph into something different, as a prompt engineer or getting the models right, training the models, building the models.
Context
engineering is something very big.
Yeah.
And I'll also give you an example of the context engineering on how successfully we have used it. So we estimated that there'll be a $6 trillion worth of new value pools that would be generated across the 5 layers of the AI stack. And that would evolve as a significant opportunity for the IT services industry for the next five years.
Right.
And talking about the context engineering, context is very significant aspect in the current AI era. So we have partnered with Work Fabric and are leveraging the context element into the. So we have deployed context agents into all our sales force. What this context agent does is take a client. So there are 10 people from Cognizant talking to clients at different stages. So they're having 10 different conversations. Not necessarily all 10 people are coordinated and they do not bring it back together in a common way. But the digital twins or the context agents of these 10 people, they're constantly talking. They'll triangulate all the 10 meetings and they'll synthesize an output in 3 or 4 different formats. They are unearthing the new opportunities which we would not have identified otherwise. They are identifying the potential risks, saying that from these 4 different from 10 meetings that not 4 10 meetings that they had, they are saying that potentially this portfolio is at risk for you, so you may have to pay more attention. Or it is giving me signals saying that there could be an escalation coming from this area. You could.
And that's done in record time, obviously.
In record time, obviously. We just deployed this 3 months ago or 4 months ago. Within 3 or 4 months, we have unearthed $200 million worth of new opportunities.
Fantastic.
That would have never come to surface otherwise.
Fantastic.
So that is the power of AI coupled with context.
So that was Surya Gummadi on what AI could dismantle and what it could build. From shrinking traditional coding and testing work to reshaping jobs, GCCs and healthcare, the transition will be disruptive. But Cognizant's bet is that context, not just computing power, will unlock AI's real business value. That's it for today. You are listening to our latest Corner Office Conversation, a show where we talk to the most interesting business and thought leaders from India and the world. This episode was produced by Vinay Joshi and Rajas Naik, sound designed by Amrit Reddy. Keep following our podcasts on your favorite platforms. Stay tuned.